Yeah, go ahead, keep talking. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
He's our AV master.
Okay. Maybe I'll stand over here. All right, so hi everyone and welcome to today's afternoon session titled Nature's Medicine Cabinet. So today's going to be a fun class. We're going to be sharing some very simple, affordable, natural remedies and ways to strengthen our immune system. So before I introduce you to everybody else that's going to be presenting today, which Elder Alvin already briefly did, my name is Susan. I'm a registered dental hygienist, a mother of two, a wife, and a natural remedies enthusiast. Now, I never was like this before. I actually grew up taking any and every medication prescribed to me, and I'm still dealing with a lot of negative side effects today as a result of it. So I wanted to share with you today some things that we're going to be talking about will be natural remedies that are a lot safer options and things that are very effective for common ailments that we face today. So I had a patient who was in a surfing accident, and this is kind of what opened my eyes to natural remedies. He broke several ribs, and he said, oh yeah, they have me on painkillers, and I'm taking, all this ibuprofen and Tylenol, all this to counteract the inflammation in his body, so all these anti-inflammatories. And he was taking so much to the point where his skin was turning yellow. They were starting to affect his liver. And it got to the point where he was starting, not even the ribs were no longer the main issue, now it's liver failure that he's facing. So he said, I didn't want to keep taking these medications that were destroying my liver, so what he found was turmeric is a natural anti-inflammatory. So he said, let me try taking this instead of the prescribed anti-inflammatories, and let me see if it makes a difference. So what he would do was he would take just some turmeric powder, he'd put it in some water, and he'd drink that every morning. And he said that it helped with the pain, it helped with the inflammation and the healing from his broken ribs, and it didn't have any negative side effects on his liver. And I said, wow, this is pretty amazing. And so I said, okay, I started building up confidence in natural remedies. And I had a dog who, at the time before my husband and I had kids, we had a dog who was our baby. If any of you have pets, you know that they are a very loved member of the family. And he was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease in which the body attacks its own red blood cells. He was given like 3 weeks to live. His prognosis was very poor. And so I had no other choice but to try natural remedies. And so I tried actually some chlorophyll rich foods, and I gave that to him. He went from a skeleton with fur on him to a jumping, playing, barking dog. It was actually glorious to hear his bark for the first time in months. And so some of you may say, well, isn't that testing on animals? Don't worry, I don't condone testing on animals. I'm an animal lover. But this was really what built my confidence in natural remedies to start doing them more. So now it's been over 10 years, and I'm proud to say that I personally have never needed to take a prescription medication, and neither have my two boys. They've never needed a prescription in their whole entire life. So I'm not the only one, though. We have a whole team here that's comprised of health professionals, natural remedies enthusiasts, and we are going to be sharing with you today several remedies that have worked for us. And we hope that you can enjoy and gain some confidence in the natural medicines that God has given us in nature. Now, I just want to put out a disclaimer out there. We are not giving medical advice today. We just felt the need to put together a presentation like this because can everyone agree that the world has been a little bit chaotic over the past couple of years? Amen. Have you guys seen empty shelves in the markets and the stores? So what about increased prices of medication? Yeah. So what would you all do if there was a medication that you needed but you didn't have access to it. So that's why we want to share this. We want to share some options that will equip you with knowledge that you can use if grocery stores were to run out of things, or if your pharmacy was to run out of stock, and you just needed more natural options that you can find in a garden or out in nature. That's what we wanted to share with you. So first up, we're going to be having Davina. She's a registered nurse, ICU registered nurse, and she is going to be sharing about health and contrast baths and how to increase and strengthen our immune system.
So we've kind of juiced everything up into a little bit of this weekend, okay? So normally what we'll do is we'll have free, food samples too, healthy food samples, but we'll have a little bit today, but if you invite us next time, we'll probably have a little bit more of a healthy food samples and recipes for you all, okay? So like what Susan said, my name is Davina, and one thing that we all have in common is a lot of us are very passionate about dealing with what God has given us first. And don't get me wrong, medications, there's a time and a place for them. I work in the ICU, and I've seen blood sugars all the way up to 1,000, and the patient is not awake, okay? We needed emergency insulin drip in an IV form to get that sugar down to a more life-sustaining amount, okay? So there's a time and place for medication, but we can also do our part to make sure that, maybe we can get off these medications if our body is in the right condition, right? Because remember, in the ministry of healing, it says the Savior, in his miracles, revealed the power that is continually at work in man's behalf to sustain and to heal us, right? Through the agencies of nature, okay? We're going to be referring to that a lot today. What are these agencies of nature, right? God is working day by day, hour by hour, moment by moment, to keep us what? Alive, right? And to build us up and restore us, right? And when any part of the body sustains injury, a healing process is at once begun. Amen. We don't even know that it's happening in our body. It's just automatic. Remember, we are fearfully and wonderfully right. Nature's agencies are set at work to restore the soundness in our bodies, right? And also Psalms 103 says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits." Amen. Right? Amen. Who forgiveth all thy iniquities, and who what? All. Not just some. Healeth all thy diseases. Who redeems thy life from destruction, and who crowneth thee with the loving kindness and tender mercies. Amen. Now, let me ask you, what was happening around 2 years ago, 2020? Yes, exactly. But did you know, raise your hands if you've known, that something similar like this happened in 1918? Have you heard of that?
The sermon today.
Was it the sermon today? Amen. Praise God for that. The 1918 Influenza Pandemic. You guys heard about it, right? Was that the sermon today?
Yeah, that was a piece of it.
Yeah, so this had happened before back in the day. None of us probably was alive then, although my grandma, she was born 1920. So what happened in the 1918 influenza pandemic? It's similar things. Look, when you look it up and you Google up, look at the various things that come up. Doesn't that look familiar? People had to wear masks, right? Look at all the different types of masks that they had. They were creative, right?
Holding the beards.
Oh, yeah. They were very creative, and these are like the newspapers articles, right? And you see, stamp out the Spanish influenza, by wearing a mask.
Do we hear that? Right? And look at this newspaper article. Churches, schools, shows, all closed, right? Epidemic puts ban on all public assemblies. And I don't know if you see it here, but the date, it's kind of blurry. It's October 1918. So it's around this month. Okay, so, but look at this one though. This is from, I think it was Seattle. Yeah, Seattle Daily Times. Look what they recommend to do at the time. Keep plenty of air in your living and sleeping rooms. Does that sound familiar for us Adventists, right? All colds, however slight, should be treated as possible attacks of influenza. That sounds like early treatment to me, right? Avoid crowds. Regulate your bowels. Does that sound like something? The gut health, right? Avoid breathing or expelling secretions from people suffering with colds. Clothing should be warm and dry. Drink water freely. What does that sound like to you? So this is back in 1918. Okay, so what kinds of things have we learned from there? There are a lot actually, and we're going to kind of focus on what they did back then. And this article, they did a study. Look at the date on that, 1919. Okay, so this is the year, a few months after the whole influenza breakout, right? So what were they doing and what can we learn from them, right? So they had sick patients, people with pneumonia and all that, in army camps. And the ones in army camps, if you think of the army camp, like the picture I showed you in the beginning, they were all kind of cramped up, right? Closed together. So they had patients there. And 20% got the Spanish flu, and from there, they, for those who contracted pneumonia from that flu is 40%, right? 40% of those people got pneumonia and died. That's in the army camps, so the hospital settings, right? In contrast, there were patients that were treated in 10 sanitariums. There were sanitariums at that time in 1918. And look at the personnel. They've been trained by who? Does that sound familiar to you, that name? And trained in what?
Hydrotherapy.
Sorry about that. Hydrotherapy. So every now and then they'll go on like that. Sorry, guys. So they were trained in hydrothermal therapy. And Elder Alvin will go over some of that tomorrow as well, and some of that later, but some more tomorrow. So let's see what the difference is. So we got the hospital and we got the sanitarium. Okay, so in the sanitarium, they were treated inside the sanitarium where they were supervised. And look at that, at the very beginning of the symptoms. So what can we get from there? When we're starting to have flu-like symptoms or starting to cough, that's when we attack it, right? And that's what we're going to learn today, how to do that. What are we going to need to attack that? So there were 446 treated in the sanitariums, and then there was 677 of these patients who were sick in a non-supervised setting. So that means in the home setting. Okay, they were just taught, okay, this is what you need to do at home, right? And so what happened? So from the sanitarium, people who were not supervised, remember earlier I said from the army camps, 40% had died, developed pneumonia and had died. Look at this in the non-supervised setting. So this is in the home setting. Look. The only people that died was 26 out of 677. That's only 3.8% of the people that died. And then same thing in the sanitarium space, only 6 had died from 446. Wow. And that's only 1.3% of the population in there. Compared to the hospital, which was evidence-based at the time, people were dying 40%. Okay, so you see a drastic difference. So what is the difference? Well, in conditions in the army hospital, they were crammed, right? They were bed to bed to bed. Everybody's coughing on each other, right? And they were closed places. There were no windows. There were no fresh air. It was just boxed in, right? Also, aspirin. was developed in 1918, around that time. And they kept giving that to what? Lower fever. What about this fever, right? So now let's see what the difference is in the sanitarium. What did they do? They did what? Hydrotherapy. We're going to learn about that. And they what with fever?
Encourage it.
They encouraged it. What? I thought we're supposed to not have fever. So at a certain point, we need to encourage the fever. And we'll learn why, right? Because that opens up the immune system, wakes up the immune system. So we do need a little fever, right? Not too high of a fever, but a little fever is encouraged. And actually, we're starting to do that now in the hospitals, believe it or not. Like, we're not treating the fever until it gets above 102.
Really?
You know? Yes, in ICU.
Wow.
So a lot of the things that we know from Spirit of Prophecy are now getting incorporated in the main hospitals, right? Okay, what else did they have? Windows. They had sunlight, and they were out in the community. They were out breathing fresh air and, doing all these things that we are encouraging everybody to do, right? So that was the main difference. Look at this one. Ministry of Healing, chapter 15 says, to afford the patient the most favorable conditions for recovery. The room he occupies should be large, light, cheerful, with the opportunity for thorough ventilation. So open those windows, right? In the hospitals today, let me ask you, are there windows?
We don't open.
They don't open. Who said that? Yes. And they're tinted, some people say. You gotta open up those windows, right? Let that fresh air in. Here's another good one, chapter 17, Ministry of Healing. But if the vital force is too rapidly exhausted, the nervous system borrowed power for present use from its resources of strength. And when one organ is injured, all are affected, right? That sounds like multi-organ system failure, right? Nature's effort to correct these conditions is often manifested in
Fever.
There it is. That's why a fever is good, okay? And various other forms of sickness. So, fever, what does fever do? It wakes up our immune system. It puts our army to work, right? And there's actually studies now that are showing this. And I love that there's studies now that kind of helps aid this, what Spirit of Prophecy has been telling us this whole time, So here, human monocyte stimulation, monocyte meaning is immune system. Our immune system stimulation by experimental whole body, hyperthermia, what does that mean? Fever, yes. Okay, let's see what the conclusion is. So 12 healthy volunteers were immersed in hot water bath. So like maybe a spa, so what happened? Thermal effects of fever directly affects the monocytes or the immune system and increases their ability to respond to bacteria and virus and disease. So it wakes up the immune system, fever. And then look what happened. Look at this article. Immune changes in humans during cold now. We were talking about fever. Now we're going to talk about cold exposure, effects of prior heating and exercise. So what is the conclusion with cold? This study suggests that despite popular beliefs that cold exposure can precipitate a viral infection. Have you guys heard of that?
Yes.
Oh, don't get out in the cold. You're going to get a cold. So it says the innate component of the immune system is not adversely affected by a brief period of cold exposure. Indeed, the opposite seems the case. The fall of core body temperature resulting from cold exposure led to a consistent and statistically significant mobilization of your blood, basically. So the cold will wake, the fever will wake us up, wake the immune system. The cold will mobilize the blood where it needs to go, right? That's what all this wording is. And look what else. It increases the natural killer cell activity. That's actually a word in our immune system, natural killer cells. That's part of our immunity, right? So it increases that activity, so it gets straight to that pneumonia or the cut or whatever disease that's going on in your body, it wakes the immune system up. Okay, so now what about hot and cold showers? What about it, right? There is another study on it, a randomized controlled trial of cold showering on health and work. What did they find out about that? So they had 3,018 volunteers for 1 month. And what they did was not just hot, but and then cold to keep the heat in. So it's cold and hot showers. Okay? The conclusion, 30% reduction in sick days at work. Just by taking a hot and cold shower for 1 month. 30% reduction in sick days. Better quality of life, better work productivity, and less anxiety. And I would add to this, it wakes you up so you don't need coffee or any stimulants, right? This wakes you up in the morning. So summary is heat followed by cold, improve the immunity significantly, enough to reduce actual diseases such as colds, viral infections, severity of illnesses, and even pneumonia. So talking about the 1918 influenza, and then now bringing it back to today, we can still use hydrotherapy in order as a natural remedy to get our immune going to fight off that infection, right? So I don't know if you want to take a picture of this, but this is just a quick direction on what to do in the contrast bath. So we want to begin with approximately 2 to 3 minutes of warm or hot water, whatever you can handle, right? And then you switch to cold as you can tolerate for only how long?
30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds, okay? And then you go back to hot and you repeat that for a total of 4 more cycles, depending on how you can handle it. And you always want to end with cold water. The cold water will just lock everything in and get you going throughout the day. So if you're feeling cough, if you're feeling sore throat, fever, all these things, take a contrast bath, okay? And it'll do wonders. Sorry about that, it just keeps the... So now we're gonna go down to a couple more things. We're talking about sunshine, and then we're gonna talk about fresh air, and then we're moving on to the natural remedies. So heaven's gift of sunshine, and we're kind of focusing on the flu season that's coming up, you know, and we get a lot of sunshine here in Rohnert Park, but well, we'll see here in Ministry of Healing again, pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness, rest, exercise, proper diet, the use of water, and trust in divine power. These are the true remedies. Remember earlier we talked about nature's agencies. These are nature's agencies, right? So sunshine. Some people say, oh, it's harmful. Is it harmful? Yes, in excess, right? But it's actually beneficial for us. It's actually a blessing, really, and it's free from God, right? Basically, if you go down to it, sunshine is a germ killer. Germ killer. Can you see that? Not really. Well, you can see that there's germs growing in this part where it's dark, warm, and moist. And if you left untouched, it's growing germs. And then on this part where there is sun, there's no germs. So sunlight kills germs, right? Actually, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, says that the average American spends how long?
90 minutes.
That's a lot. 93% of their lives indoors. And I'm thinking, is that really me? But look at this, 87% inside buildings. And then the 6% in automobile. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's me. I spend 12 hours at work during the day, right? 10 to 12 hours during the day. And then I commute 30 minutes every day. So that's me, you know? So even though it's so sunny in Vacaville where I live, guess where I'm spending the majority of my time, right?
Yeah.
Can anybody relate?
Yes.
Right? So that leaves us only 7% spent outdoors. It's tragic, right? But why do we need sunlight? We need the sunlight for the vitamin D exposure. And who knows a thing or two about vitamin D? Vitamin D is actually a very essential vitamin that helps turn into hormone. So that means we really need it to sustain our body, right? It enhances the effects of the immune system. So if we don't have enough of it, that's when we're gonna get sick. And actually, I take care of cancer patients. Their vitamin D levels are low. They're insufficient in vitamin D. So take that with any kind of sickness that we have. You got to think, how is my vitamin D levels, right? We can get it directly through sunlight, and we can also get it through diet and supplement. But I would caution this supplement. It's not, a supplement is a supplement. It's not a substitute, okay? The best is direct. Okay, because when the sunlight hits you, it takes about 2 hours for that vitamin D to get absorbed in your body. So let's say I went out and I went for a jog or went door to door or whatnot, and then as soon as I get home and I take a shower, what did I just do to all that vitamin D?
Take them out.
You just washed them out. No. So now we know, let's wait a couple hours before we take a shower to make sure that the vitamin D actually converts into the hormones that we need to wake up our immune system.
That's a question,
Does that make sense? Yes.
Good question. What about going outside? You go to absorb the sun rays because it converts in our system to vitamin D.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So I can take a shower.
Yeah, don't take a shower. Wait a couple hours.
Okay.
Then take a shower, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So how do you know if you're getting too much vitamin D, too much sunlight? How do you know? The answer is your body will tell you. If you're sunburned, you were out too long. If you were dry skin, like I tend to have dry skin, I was out too long. Peeling, I was out too long, yeah. Okay, they say about 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, okay? And then I wanted to tell you just last year, in around June, I got so sick to the point where I lost my voice, I was coughing so much, and I thought I had COVID, right? So I went into urgent care because finally I could not breathe. And I could tell you that I had my contrast bath, I've had the big 5, you know, I'm trying to do as much as I can from the natural remedy perspective, and I still could not get a breath in. And so I was like, I need to go to urgent care. So I went in my car, and as soon as I went outside and took in the fresh breath, I was able to breathe, you guys. And so when I drove to the urgent care, I left the windows down, and I was actually able to have a sigh of relief that I can breathe. So I really thought I had COVID because I had all the signs and symptoms of it, but I tested negative for it. Couple months later, I went to for a routine checkup for my doctor, and I asked her, okay, can you also check if I had antibodies from COVID, right? Because I know that I had it, you know, and vitamin D levels. Well, I had negative antibodies, which means I did not have COVID, but I was strikingly surprised to find a vitamin D level. Okay, so anything above 30, and this is good for you to request from your doctor to see where you are, your vitamin D levels, okay? So anything 30 and above is optimal level. 20 to 30 is insufficient, not enough vitamin D. And below 20, you're deficient. These are like the cancer patients, the ones that are in and out of the hospital a lot. Look at their vitamin D levels, they're low. You know where mine was? 21. Wow.
Oh my God.
I was so surprised. I said, I live in Vacaville. There's always sunlight. How could I not? Because I'm not going out. Remember what the statistics, we're only spending 7% outside. So then this convinced me I need to supplement. So from there, I'm taking 5,000, you know, daily. Because I know that that's why I was sick too. Okay, so when you start to get sick, check to see what your vitamin D level is. Finally, I'm just gonna briefly go over what, does anybody know what this is? Have seen this before?
Yeah.
Oh, it's you had one?
How to use one?
Yeah, so I just want to show this to everybody because we give this to all of our pneumonia patients. It actually does marvels and it's such a small device you can lose it. But basically what it is, we can all do it without this device. But I want you guys, if you're starting to have cough or COVID symptoms and things like that, I want you to do this deep breathing exercises, okay? So imagine drinking a thick milkshake. Thick milkshake, okay? So you're just gonna breathe in and hold it as long as you can and then breathe out, okay? So everyone, let's do that real quick. Breathe in like a thick milkshake. Hold it as long as you can and then breathe out through your mouth. Okay, so I want you guys to be doing that when you're starting to feel coughs and things like that. So what that does is it opens up the little airways and the base of your lungs and it prevents pneumonia. Okay, so we learned contrast bath, we learned the importance of sunlight because of vitamin D, and now we've learned a proper breathing techniques.
What is that called?
This one?
Yeah. Incentive spirometer.
There she got it. Incentive spirometer. It's a fancy device, but I just taught you how to do it.
Don't they make you do that after you've had surgery?
Yes.
So I remember that beast.
Did you? Now it's hard. No, I get what you're saying because it's so hard to take the deep breath. Even after surgery, we have you guys doing it.
I didn't have
Because
that problem. I was so blessed. I did.
good. Yeah, it's really hard to do in the beginning. Yeah. So, but it really prevents complications of pneumonia and things like that. So now we all know how to do it, right? Okay. So we're moving on to our demos now, and my sister Carmina will take it from here. You need the light?
Okay.
Should we do light? We do the light.
Maybe just half it.
Yeah, that's good.
There, yeah. So you can see the demo.
Alright. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carmina, as my sister mentioned. I'm a registered nurse, but my specialty is psych. So I like to study natural remedies more than my nursing career. And I do the same with my children too. My go-to is the natural remedies. In fact, my little one knows whatever symptom he has, he knows which oil or whatever thing in our kitchen to get for his natural remedy. Okay, so the first one I'm going to be talking about is onions. And this is a little small. Elder Alvin's onions are bigger. But it's an amazing herb, right? And it's so interesting. Do you have the article? Okay, that when I Googled up scholarly articles on onion, this is what I found, among others. And so it goes to show that, even the world out there knows about these things, that we've always been, sharing it with our health message for hundreds of years, right? Or at least 100 years, right? And so this is from the National Library of Medicine, NIH, PubMed.gov. It says, onions, a global benefit to health. And what struck me in this article is this sentence I'm going to read to you. It says, and by the way, this was November 2002 is when it was written. Okay, it says, compounds from onion have been reported to have a range of health benefits which include anti-carcinogenic properties. What does that mean? Anti-cancer, that's right. Anti-platelet activity, anti-thrombotic activity. What does that mean?
Clotting.
Blood thinner.
Clotting. So anti-clotting, right? So it prevents clotting. Anti-asthmatic. Sounds familiar, right? So it prevents asthma. And antibiotic effect. Okay, onion does that. Okay, and so this onion, actually, okay, before I get into the onion cough syrup, I want to share with you guys, and some of you guys may already be using it. I got this idea from Barbara O'Neill. Has anyone heard of Barbara O'Neill? Yes. You can Google her, or Google her up, or on YouTube just search her name, Barbara O'Neill, and she has all these natural remedy stuff. She's a mother who just learned to use these things, so she just shares the things that she has used for her children and grandchildren throughout the years, and that has worked for them, right? And so I learned from her onion poultice. And so she said what to do with the onion poultice is you just slice a big chunk. This one is perfect. This onion size is perfect for my son's feet, so it's a little smaller. For mine, probably the bigger onions like Elder Alvin has, and he'll show you that later. So she said just cut slices of it.
Is that from your garden?
No, this
It
one's
looks
not
like
from my
it.
garden. It looks like it, huh? Oh, and this doesn't look inside. It's good. It's supposed to be organic from Trader Joe's. But, so it looks like this, right? And then you would put it against, like, if this is the sole of my feet, I put it like this. And then just cover it with saran wrap. And leave it on overnight.
Will it burn?
No. It'll stink. You'll smell like onion.
When would you use it? Like,
Okay, so I have used this for fever, for cough, and it stops. It doesn't fail, it never fails. But with my son, when he gets, because my son is asthmatic, it's triggered by dairy, cheese. So when he gets his asthma attacks, he gets these coughing spells. And so when I put the onions on his feet at night, then he sleeps. He sleeps very well.
So any onion, red, yellow?
Yes. So I use the white and the yellow.
White and yellow?
White and yellow, yeah.
the ones that make you cry the most.
I believe for the big five, Elder Alvin uses the white. I think that has the most potency. Does it?
I
Yeah.
had a question. What if you're allergic to onion?
Garlic? How about garlic? Would you be allergic to garlic
No.
too? If you're okay, garlic would be just as good also.
But
for-
garlic is
But-
caustic to the.
Oh yeah, it can
burn.
burn.
Yeah,
It
That's why
can
it'll
strong.
burn you very
It
badly.
can burn. Yeah.
So you would put.
So you wouldn't do a
Yeah.
poultice.
Can anyone be allergic to onion, really?
Can you
Like,
Some
put,
people, yeah,
Yes.
some people can.
can you
be
put a
allergic.
paper towel and then
But
stick
it will
on?
still touch it.
Ah.
Yeah, because
Wait,
the onion is a drawer. It'll penetrate.
Wait, so you put it on your foot?
Yeah. And then surround it.
Yes.
So when my husband had the COVID, I put the garlic on his feet.
Directly?
Yeah, I put
Did it burn?
Vaseline on his feet,
Oh.
really, really, really
Okay.
thick.
She was my doctor, it was cheap.
And then I did a whole bowl, like my brother does. I did a
Amen.
whole bowl of garlic,
Amen.
and then I put it on his feet,
Uh-huh.
and he was good.
And it didn't burn him.
No.
And you put it directly.
I'll let her feel
No,
that she was
with
doing a
the-
good
yeah.
job.
Well, the
because I
next
already
day when I
knew.
came home, he was wandering around in the yard.
Good.
So I let her feel that.
So can we know your address? Because there's a sanitarium. No?
That original pudding is from Dr.
Christopher? Ah.
Dr. Christopher, well, they used to do like the black ointment that he used to make. He used to make this black ointment, it's a very drawing ointment. But then other people had started doing the Vaseline and garlic, and because it goes for healing, because it goes all the way through your body. It doesn't take long that if you put it on your feet, you'll smell it on their breath,
You could smell it in your breath, yeah, because it does
So-
penetrate.
the whole body. Yeah.
Yes.
So you said when you put it under your feet, you lap it with what? Can you just put on salt?
Yes, so
Just
what
for-
I usually do is, so I put the ring directly on my foot, right? And then cover it with saran just to hold it in place, and then I cover it with my socks.
Socks.
Yeah.
So it doesn't come out.
And then he's been doing that with, should I tell?
Oh, my mom?
Yeah, my mom.
Yeah.
My mom had bed sores when she came home from the hospital, and it was gangrene.
Wow.
It was turning green and black.
Oh, wow.
So he did that to her foot.
And it helped.
It felt beautiful.
Wow. Praise God. Praise
Wow,
God.
amen.
Oh, wow. my go-to, I would have thought of for that would be honey.
They do that honey thing,
Yeah.
but garlic is more effective.
Garlic too. Garlic, not onion. Garlic.
Garlic.
Praise God.
Is that for fever?
For
The
fever
garlic?
also, the onion.
The onion is for fever?
I have used it for fever, very effective, for
And for
especially
cough.
for little children, yes. I have also one time put it directly on my son's chest and then covered it with a saran wrap because when, he couldn't get any relief and he was still having trouble breathing. So yeah, but fever, I've known a few people. Crystal does that for little Caleb. Our cousin does it for our little nephew's fever all the time. It works for him all the time. So she always has onions. Yeah. And so, because one time we were at Leone Meadows and the little boy started having a fever. And we're like, we didn't bring, our natural, we have charcoal and cayenne, but what for fever? And then so we looked at it was during lunchtime, so we looked at the potluck table and said, there's onions! Go grab the onions, put it on his feet. And sure enough, by the following day, he was fine. He was plain, no fever. So, yes. And then...
Wait, what does it do to your body to heal your fever?
So, they say it's a drawer. It draws toxins from your body.
And the reason why we put it in the bottom of your feet is because that's where it's closest to the blood vessels. So it'll go penetrate on your feet into your bloodstream. And that's why you start to taste it, and so that's how you know it's getting in it.
So when you wake up the next morning, can you reuse the onion or do
No.
You toss it.
Toss
No.
it. Toss
It has a germ.
Stupid.
Good question.
We
Yes.
have
Good
onions for
question.
breakfast.
No,
Kidding.
throw it away.
Throw it away. But good question, Ken. I like how your mind is thinking.
Yeah.
I
So
like
Carmina, in light of what Ken is saying, what onion does, it draws toxins. Should you put onion in your fridge without having covered? And should you use it for cooking?
Very good question. Never do that because then it'll catch all the bacteria in your fridge, right?
And
Which
then you're
is
gonna cook it.
Yeah, which is why they say that when you have like potato salad or macaroni salad that you put fresh onions in, during like the summertime, like in July, it will spoil quickly because it'll get all the toxins in the air and then it ends up in your food.
You can only
So
put it in the fridge when
refrigerate.
it's not cut, right?
No, you can, but I usually put it in a Ziploc.
Ziploc.
Yeah.
I put it in a Ziploc.
So don't leave it in the
Seal
counter, because if you leave it in the counter, it's going to draw toxins from the house,
Yeah.
whatever's in there. And if you eat it, you're eating the toxins into your body.
So, but that's when it's
That's how
cut,
strong
When
it
it's
is.
cut.
Yes, it's strong.
When it's cut.
You could even slice up an onion and put it at your bedside.
That's
Leave
right.
it there. It purifies the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say this? I went on a trip one time and I came back and the kids had let the cat in the house and the cat had peed on my furniture. And I guess maybe somewhere on a wood floor somewhere. But every time I walked in this place, I could smell cat pee. And so what I did, I cut a whole bunch of onions like in half and I put them in the area where I was smelling it. And in like 2 weeks, I couldn't even tell that there was a smell or anything.
Wow. So cat pee. That's good to know.
The cat doesn't live in the house. He just happened to be there because I wasn't home.
I also want to share my experience when I went to Washington. We went on a walk because we went to the tulip field farm and I had a sore feet on my right and I was limping and what's going on with you? And then when we got back, I got an onion. I thought about that. I did not do it. I was not a believer actually. I just said, there's nothing to lose. I'll just put it under my socks. I didn't even wrap it with a plastic. I just put it under my socks and then I slept. The following day, it's just like nothing happened to me. But I cut a thick one. The middle one, I just put it there and then slept.
Amen.
The next day, I'm fine.
Amen.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to peel this with glove hands.
Nature's
I didn't realize how
agencies,
easy-
remember?
Right.
This is nature's
I
agency.
can't.
Okay, so what I'm working on now is the onion cough syrup, and this also came, I also learned about this from Barbara O'Neill.
Can you all see that? I know you're
Manuka
taking a
honey.
picture. Maybe if we turn off the light, will it be a better? Can you see? Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, much. Thank you.
Okay, so chop the onions. So here I'm chopping it in small pieces. And then, yeah, she said it would be nice to use if you can get a hold of some manuka honey, but that's kind of expensive. But if you have that, then it's really good. But for me, I use organic honey. Okay, I just want to make sure it's organic. And they say the darker it is, the more medicinal it is. And so, yeah, just try the dark honeys. I put it in a jar. Okay, a layer of onions. And then cover it with honey.
Read that one time, I like to see what she's doing.
They can't take the picture, so.
Oh,
There, that's better. I took the picture out.
just one side is fine.
Okay, you want to make sure you cover it all with honey. And then do another layer of it.
Oh, is that like 1 tablespoon or more than 1 tablespoon?
It's up to you, however much you want to make. I'm not making that much.
Cover it.
This is just fill it.
Can you give to babies?
Yeah, well, not for 1 year or younger because of honey.
They're not supposed to have honey.
Yeah, they
but
can't have honey.
for toddlers.
But yeah, for those older than 1, yeah, that should be okay. Okay, and then you do the second layer.
So you want to put it in a glass container or?
I use glass because I don't like plastic. Because if it's not BPA free, right, you get particles of that plastic.
But the honey is in plastic.
You're right, that's true.
But honey doesn't draw anything. The
onion, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That is true. And actually for this one, because I'm just using it for demo, I put it in plastic.
Oh.
But it would be nice to use glass. I just always use glass, but it's up to you guys.
You can get honey in glass too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then and then so you leave this on, you seal it, and then you leave it for 24 hours. And I've done both. I've refrigerated and I've just left it out, and it has the same effect. After 24 hours, do you see how this honey is very thick, right? After 24 hours, look how runny it is. So it's like a syrup. And then now you can just strain the onion out. You don't want to eat that. Unless you want to, that's fine too. But I just take the syrup, and then that's what I take. And it says...
You take that for cough.
For cough, yes.
One teaspoon of it?
So, is it there, Divina? Okay, yeah. Adults.
Here, let me correct you.
This is what Barbara O'Neill has on her website. Adults, do you have it, Divina?
Yeah.
1 teaspoon 3 times a day. And for children, half teaspoon 3 times a day.
And you guys notice how liquidy it looks now? See, so it kind of immersed, and the onions was making its own juice, so it's making it more liquid. So we're gonna try samples later.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys can try that. Definitely, you can try that. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna share with you guys is this soothing herbal broth. And especially during this time of the year when, it's flu season, right? And people get sniffles, colds, flu, right? What have you. This is really soothing, okay? And I know when I get sick, I crave for like fall soup, any kind of herbal broth. So this is the recipe that I have. This is the recipe I use. I found it online, but I tweaked it. Let me see. So do you have the recipe, Divina? Okay, so the first thing on the recipe is onion. Again, onion. And I would take, if the size of your onion is this small, I would take 2. Okay, and it makes the recipe I'm gonna share with you makes a big pot, like a potluck dish pot. Okay, so if it's as big as Elder Alvin's onions, which you will see later, his is like this big, then you all only need one. But for this, you know, it's small, so I would use two. And you just quarter it. I quarter it, right? And I put it in the water. So a pot with just a whole bunch of water in it. And then I put the onion there. So as we already talked about, onions are just amazing, but onions contain sulfur compounds that help fight mucus and promote the expulsion of mucus from your airways. Onion is considered to be the most powerful natural antibiotic which can fight off both viral and bacterial infections and ease the symptoms of sore throat. Okay, and again, if you're allergic to onion, garlic does the same thing. They're from the same family, actually. Okay, the next ingredient is ginger. I love ginger. Okay, so you all know what ginger root looks like. Ginger, as most of you know, probably reduces inflammation, right? So it's kind of like turmeric. It reduces inflammation. It's also good for digestion. So if you have nausea, ginger is really good, okay? The next ingredient is cinnamon. Cinnamon. I actually use the long one from Costco. That's fine too. I use 2 of those for a big pot. But if you just have a small pot for your family, the 2 small ones would be good. Cinnamon is one of the most powerful antiseptics known and is strongly antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal. Okay. Star anise. Have you guys cooked with this star anise? Small, it's shaped like a star.
It's what they put in some bread.
In some bread. I get mine from the Asian stores, but I know that they have it in Safeway in the Asian aisle. Sometimes
Like the
even in
herbs.
the Mexican aisle, they have this too in the herbs. Yeah, so it's really beautiful and it smells really good. You guys are free to touch it and smell it if you want later. So
Is that dry?
Dry?
Yeah.
Yes, dry. Yeah. They also have anise powder, right? So this is whole anise that I put in my broth. I use the whole one. And star anise actually is a good source of B complex vitamins. Star anise is rich in niacin and riboflavin, which carry a wide range of health benefits when consumed. Riboflavin boosts skin, eye, and nervous system health and is a key player in red cell production. It also helps break down carbohydrates and turn them into energy. Niacin is equally important in breaking down carbs into energy and also has a role in regulating blood sugar levels. It helps with the production of hormones affecting serotonin and adrenal hormones. Other things that star anise does, it inhibits fungal infections, reduces symptoms of cough and flu, aids digestive health, and it's rich in vitamins A and C. And when it said niacin, you know, the first thing people give when you have been diagnosed with high cholesterol, the first thing usually the doctors will try is the niacin. But a lot of people get side effects from it, like, you know, they get the flushed skin, and they get really, really hot, and people don't want to use niacin, so they go to the other medicines like Lipitor and stuff. But this is high in niacin, and you don't get those side effects.
Oh, wow. That's good.
And then the next ingredient is even smaller, and it's clove. You guys are probably familiar with clove, you know, like during this time of the year, you see a lot of stuff, you know, with using this as an ingredient, right? Clove is very small. You can smell that pumpkin spice smell. Clove is usually there, and nutmeg, right? So clove together with cinnamon, these two make up the most part of the blend Thieves Essential Oil, and that's maybe for another what do you call it, class when we talk about essential oils. But the Thieves Essential Oil is actually the 5 ingredients in Thieves Essential Oil were used during the bubonic plague. Okay, so those 5 ingredients, and this is one of them. So clove is one of the most antimicrobial, antiseptic, antifungal, antiviral, and anti-infectious of all the essential oils when put in, with cinnamon and the other herbs in the Thieves Essential Oil. So clove also has those microbial, antimicrobial properties. Okay, so this is the whole recipe of the herbal broth. 1 big pot of water, one large onion quartered, 4-inch piece of fresh ginger, like this, 2 cinnamon sticks, 4 to 6 whole star anise, 4 whole cloves, 2 tablespoons soy sauce or tamari would be a healthier alternative, right? And then I used, for this one that we're going to have you guys try, I use Better Than Bouillon. Is this one right here. I get it from Costco. And also mushroom powder to taste, which is this one, mushroom seasoning. It's a better alternative to, because it has no MSG.
Where'd you get it?
Okay. So this one I got from an Asian store, but you can also get it from Amazon. Thank you. It's easy, right? So yes. And for those who can't have sodium, just kind of watch how much of this and this you put in there. But even without this, if you just put a little bit of salt and maybe lemon, that will do the same effect because of the herbs that are coming together. Okay, and then after you boil it, so after I boil it, I kind of leave the herbs there, for a few minutes to simmer. Okay, but after it's cooled and everything, then I strain out the herbs, the whole herbs from there. Because if you leave it on overnight, it's going to taste really bitter in the morning. Yeah, so you want to fish out all those herbs, okay?
It's kind of like a tea,
Yeah.
herbal tea in a tasty soup.
Yes. So it's going around right now. Okay, I'm going to leave this here for you guys to try
And
later.
this broth is good for just general, or what was it specific for?
Yeah, for like if you have any kind of cold, flu symptoms, and sometimes we don't want to eat anything when we're sick. This one is really good, and also because
Just
when we're
water and
sick-
mushroom seasoning?
Yeah, and this, and then all the herbs and the onion.
And the onions and everything.
Because they combine together to give that.
So you can put vegetables?
Oh, yes.
Like
Okay.
bok choy or anything?
Yes. So, all right. So this is just the broth, right? This is just the broth. So what I do when I bring it to potluck, sometimes I put vegan wontons in there, and then I put cilantro, green onions,
So even if you add salt, it'll still work?
yeah. Yes.
It'll still work even if you add vegetables and other stuff?
Yes. Yes.
Vegetables,
That's so
yes.
much better.
But what I would do the vegetables in the end. So I prepare the broth first,
Right.
and then in the end, when you're about to serve, that's when I put all of that in. And broccoli, I put broccoli there. Yeah, edamame, whatever you guys want to put in. Cabbage. If you want noodles, you can put noodles.
So like so much when you get a big
Oh, it's very fast.
It's soothing for, okay, so it's soothing for,
Like if you have cold, flu.
So in an event where like someone would say, oh, you're feeling under the weather, have some chicken soup. They say chicken soup is good for that. Well, this is an alternative to that. Yeah,
It's
this is
actually
a healthier herbal alternative to chicken soup.
Alternative to chicken soup.
And a lot of the rage right now is bone broth.
Yeah.
Has anyone heard of bone broth? It's kind of like the rage in kind of health conscious people nowadays. They're drinking a broth made from bones of animals, and they're doing that for various reasons, for health reasons. I don't recommend it. I would recommend this as an alternative to that. because this has the herbs in it and it's not animal based. So that would be a great time to have this soup. But the good thing is all these herbs are healthy if you wanted to just have it just, you know, as a base for a soup one day, a healthy soup. All right, so I'm back. I'm going to be talking today about something that many of you may be familiar with, and that's activated charcoal. Now, who here has used activated charcoal as a natural remedy before?
What does activated mean?
Activated means that it has been, what is the word? I'm drawing a blank.
It's not this one.
Oh, okay, got it.
No.
It's been heated to a certain degree. There's a way that they activate it for medicinal purposes. I'm drawing a blank right now, but as soon as I remember it, I'll give it back to you. But the main thing I want to stress is that if you can go back to that slide, if we can keep that up for a while. I don't know if you can really see, but this is a barbecue grill. It is not the same thing. So don't go, you know, digging in your barbecue grill trying to make natural remedies out of it. Don't do that. This is not the same. Now, activated charcoal, which is something that that you can get from, I think Charcoal Remedies is a great site. You can get it from medical missionaries. It's what hospitals use for things like food poisoning. They'll actually give it to people to kind of induce vomiting and to get the toxins out of the body because it's an adsorbent. They also use it for animals too in poisoning cases. You know, dogs aren't supposed to eat chocolate and grapes and things like that, so they'll use it in those cases as well. But activated charcoal is great for so many things, such as inflammation, food poisoning, acid reflux, diarrhea, nausea, poisonous bites, poison ivy and poison oak, gout, tetanus, diphtheria, and water purification. Did you know that many water filters are made from charcoal because it removes the toxins? It's a very, very strong absorbent. So I'm not going to be recommending any type of ingestion of this today. That's something I would recommend talking to your naturopathic doctor about. But what I'm going to be talking about is how to make an activated charcoal poultice. Now, my mom had developed something to where several years ago, she all of a sudden couldn't walk. She needed crutches. Eventually it got so bad she had to be in a wheelchair. This is my son Malachi. You guys saw him. He's the 5-year-old that was running around. This is him when he was a baby, our dog Bella. And my mom was in a wheelchair at this time because every time she tried to walk, she would have this shooting pain from about her lower back shooting down. And we thought, oh, it's sciatica. Oh, let's go see a chiropractor. She saw a chiropractor. It didn't even do a thing for her. What we found out was she had a cyst sitting on her spinal cord. And the doctor said to her, her name is Vilma, the doctor said, okay, Vilma, so your only option here is to have surgery. We're going to operate on your spinal cord, remove this cyst that's attached to it. The only thing is you may be permanently paralyzed. And so she's getting the surgery to stop herself from having to use this wheelchair, but they're going to do surgery and she might be in a wheelchair permanently. So she said to me, and she had no faith in natural remedies, and she said to me, all right, babe, you have 2 months. I set my surgery date out 2 months. You have 2 months to try your natural woo-woo on me. And if it works, I'll cancel the surgery. And if it doesn't, I'm going to go ahead and go through with this very, dangerous surgery. And so what I did for her was I thought to myself, okay, I prayed, and I thought, okay, what is good for cysts or inflammation and kind of decreasing that inflammation on her spinal cord, and what can draw the toxins out? I said, okay, I'm going to make an activated charcoal poultice. So what I did, let me get everything out here. All right, these are the ingredients that I need. They're very simple. You don't even need it in a bag like this, but I like this because I don't have to grind it myself and it lasts forever. I've had this bag for forever. And then you need some saran wrap, which is what you also need for the onions. So saran wrap is something good to have in your house. I don't really recommend it in the kitchen, but it's good for natural remedies. Some tape that's safe for the skin. You don't want anything that will rip the skin off when you take it off. Some activated charcoal in here, some flaxseed, and some water. All right, Very, very simple. These are things that if you left this in your cupboard or in your natural medicine cabinet, this is something that will last forever. Well, don't quote me, maybe not forever, but it'll last many years. And so this charcoal here, Davina, would you mind getting me a spoon?
Yes.
Spoon coming out.
Thank you.
Look in the cupboard. The drawer. Yeah. On the other side. Right there where the fire extinguisher is. Oh.
It could be a plastic spoon, it's fine. Plastic spoon is fine.
You don't have to write that.
Oh, that's you up there.
That's you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to take a clean bowl and you're going to take some charcoal. Now, you don't want to touch this. You want to be very careful handling this because this will stain. If you ever want to use a natural food coloring to dye something black, this is great because you should see my hands when this has accidentally spilled.
Don't sneeze.
Yeah, don't sneeze when you're making a poultice. Okay, then I'm going to put equal parts flaxseed. And the beautiful thing about natural remedies is you don't have to be exact. I just put 2 heaping tablespoons of the charcoal, so I'm going to put 2 heaping tablespoons of the flaxseed. The reason I'm doing this is because when I mix the charcoal and water, it's going to dry out rather quickly. So the flaxseed helps to retain that moisture. And just a little bit of water.
And the effectivity is the same with the flax?
Yes.
Oh.
You're still getting the effectiveness of the charcoal.
Sister, the flaxseed acts as a binder, right?
A binder and to help retain the moisture. Because you can make a paste out of the charcoal and the water. The only thing is it won't last you very long.
It dries up quickly.
Yes, it dries up very quickly.
Where do you buy the activated charcoal?
I got this from a medical missionary who came and visited our church. But I have seen one of the websites that I really like for a lot of tutorial videos on charcoal is Charcoal Remedies, I believe it is, charcoalremedies.com.
How much per box?
I've never bought it from them. I bought this from the medical missionary probably, I don't know, I bought it per pound and I bought this, how long ago did she come out? 10 years ago? And I haven't had to rebuy since.
And it's the most inexpensive.
It's very inexpensive.
Website, you know.
What's it called? Charcoal.com?
Charcoalremedies.com.
They also have buyactivatedcharcoal.com, but also in the ABC store, they sell them as well in jars.
So you want it like this. You want it to be kind of jelly-like.
Like pudding?
Yeah, jelly-like. If I added a little bit of water to this, that's okay too. You just want it kind of jelly-like, like this. So that's why I add the flaxseed. So I'm going to take a paper towel.
Which one is the best?
And does anyone want to be a, does anyone have any inflammation on their body and want to be a?
Yeah, you can put them on your feet.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, you don't put that in.
Oh, wait, on the bottom?
Right?
No. For a poultice, we're putting it like on our arm or something. Yeah.
Oh, can you put
I have
it
pain on my
on the
wrist.
bottom of my feet?
Yeah, do you want to come up here in this chair right here?
Yeah.
Do you have some inflammation on your feet?
They hurt.
Okay. Where's it
That's
hurt?
inflammation.
The whole foot.
Okay.
That's inflammation.
On the bottom.
Yeah.
So the bottom might be a little bit tricky with this because you'd
Can't you
have
just put it
to.
on here?
Yeah, I am. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just gonna show them how to make the patch and then I'll give it to you.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this patch just like this.
One for both.
Okay. I'll make you a second one later.
Just want to let you know, I'm not carrying you to the car.
You just wipe it off.
So I'm gonna take this paper towel. I'm just gonna lay it flat, just like this. Okay.
You can use both feet.
So you get help off to the car?
Oh, brother, you do, man.
So see this? It's kind of like ratty.
Alfreda,
You see that?
why don't
That's
you
pretty
save it and
thick.
take it home for later?
How come I can do it now? I just sit over there and then take it off.
It's messy.
It's okay.
Oh, wait, I'm not done yet. Just wait. She's ready for the poultice. So I just want to show you what it looks like. It's kind of like a little jelly patty right here. So you can see that's a little jiggly, and you can already see it seeping through.
Yeah.
So this is going to give you the benefits of the charcoal without putting the charcoal directly on your skin. So I'm going to just fold it over. Fold it over.
Oh, you don't put it directly on your skin?
No. For a poultice, you don't, because it's an adsorbent. So all you need is to just have the liquid seep into your skin. It's going to absorb the toxins and absorb any inflammation, and it's going to trap it into the charcoal. So that's why you'd want to change this every couple of hours or so. So you'll actually see, you'll have a layer of a little bit of charcoal on the bottom of your foot. So what you're going to do is, in her case, she would put this on the bottom of her foot. What I did for my mom was I put this right over the spot where she had her.
picture.
Oh, do you mind turning the light off? So this is what I do. I put it right over her back. You can't really tell in this picture,
That's her back,
but this is her lower back right here. I put it on her back. You want this wet side down. Put it on her back. And then I'm going to cover it in saran wrap. This is going to also help retain the moisture in this poultice, because if you don't retain the moisture, it's not going to last very long.
So I'm going to put it on the bottom of my foot and then wrap it with the saran wrap.
So you're going to put it on the bottom of your foot. And I'll come over there.
Why?
She wants to do it.
Well, will it make the carpet black?
No, she's going to have saran wrap so it won't go on the...
And then put the shoe on.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to put my shoes on. I'm just going to put my feet up. Over there.
It might be slippery a little bit.
Alright, so you have a
Hold
barrier.
her arm while she goes to sit down.
So she has a barrier on her skin right now. So ideally you would want to do this with no barrier. Because since this already has a barrier, it's going to be like double barrier for you.
Okay.
So we're going to put this on, just for example, right here, if that's a good spot for you. And then I'm going to wrap it. This is
It's gonna feel cool.
It's nice and
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
It's-
and this
it's
is going to
actually
hold it in
soothing.
place.
It feels good instantly.
Okay, now I'm going to take some
It's really a
tape.
Oh, please.
I actually personally like blue painter's tape because it does not,
Doesn't stick to
yeah,
the
it does
skin.
not stick to the skin.
Yeah.
It just feels so good.
Like gel, like
Just
soothing.
nice and cool and soothing. Makes my
Okay,
feet
so we're
feel
gonna put some more of the saran wrap on the edge because we don't want it to leak out.
Yes, sir.
Because that's when it would get onto the carpet.
Yeah, she hasn't walked into Al and her brother's gonna help her into the car. She hops on the yes.
So we'll make sure that we wrap
Get to the
this
car.
up.
That's the cool, huh?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Now, we've used this for, my sister had a
Yeah, the two sides, so I
swollen
can just left this.
forearm, you know, and she has like tendonitis and things like that, and she works on the computer. So her arm was so swollen that she couldn't even move it, you know, and she can't take Motrin because her kidneys are bad and all of that. So what I did is like, why not? So we made a charcoal poultice on her, and she kept that overnight. And then so I called in the morning, checked up on her. She's like, oh, the pain is gone. And then she looked, the swelling is gone.
So you can use this on arthritis?
You can. Yes. You can.
I'm gonna have charcoal.
Another good one for arthritis is ginger. Ginger. What? And comfrey. Yeah, ginger. Okay, we didn't talk about that. So ginger is it's an anti.
Thank you to our lovely model.
You don't have to carry her.
She'll be carrying you after this.
She's carrying you out.
After she's carrying you, then you'll be making her charcoal poultices every day.
I know.
So are you finished telling about the Okay, so for, we didn't talk about this, for like aches and pains, okay? So ginger is very anti-inflammatory. It's a potent anti-inflammatory. So what you want to do is take the paper towel again. Everybody has a grater. So you grate some fresh. I like organic ginger. Make sure you have organic. No, because you want to grate it to activate it. And you know it's going to be like saucy, right? It's going to be wet, the ginger. And so you do the exact same thing as you did with the poultice, but ginger. So I put it on my neck because I have neck pain. In about a couple minutes, you'll start to feel it warm, getting warm. Yeah, so that's activating it, and it's getting to the inflammation part.
Do you put flaxseed in it?
As long as you can't feel the heat anymore.
No flaxseed needed.
I didn't hear that. As long as you can't feel the heat anymore, then you know it's already lost its potency. Then you want to take it out, okay?
And then do another.
Is it possible for you to put the ingredients so that we can take a picture like the way Camila did?
For the ginger one?
Whatever you're
Oh, for the
Oh,
charcoal.
do we have a recipe on here? Oh, before we
I don't think
we
we have
going
one. No, we don't have one.
That's why I always.
well, it's I wanted to show you what you want to make sure you do when you're doing the poultice is seal the edges. So you're gonna want, it's hard to see here, but
They are handy.
you want to make sure that you seal the edges with the tape. Okay, you can't really see it in this photo, but all the edges, because you don't want, depending on where it is, you don't want, to find you're leaving a trail of charcoal behind you, So make sure you just seal the edges of the saran wrap. And someone else had a question?
leave it up?
You can leave it on, I'd say change it out about every 2 to 3 hours or so, depending on, if it's like a poisonous bite. If I were to use this for a poisonous bite, I'd probably change it out about every 15 minutes. Let it draw out the toxins, put a new one on, and just keep on changing it out. But for something like pain, inflammation, I'd say every couple of hours. My mom actually would sleep with this on all night. In the morning, we'd put a new one on for during the day, and then because we were far, so we had to make do with what we had, and that was, she'd drive to me in the morning. We'd put it on, and then I'd give her one for the nighttime, and she'd put that on before she went to sleep. Another thing that I did in addition.
Whatever happened to your mom?
Yeah.
Oh, we're not done. We're not done.
Okay. So this is another thing that I did. So in addition, whenever we would take off the poultice, I would rub some frankincense oil in a carrier oil. So in like organic sunflower oil or organic coconut oil. This frankincense oil is amazing. It's called the king of oils. Remember, this was not the oil, but frankincense is one of the gifts that was given to Jesus at birth. That's how wonderful it is. Now, frankincense oil has so many amazing benefits. One of the main components is boswellic acid, which is a component known to have anti-neoplastic properties. So, meaning it's great for fighting cancer. It's a great immune system booster, great for anxiety because it's anti-anxiety, anti-depression. It's been shown in a study to fight cells of specific types of cancer. A 2012 study found that a chemical compound found in frankincense called AKBA is successful at killing cancer cells that have become resistant to chemotherapy, which may make it a potent natural cancer treatment. It also is antibacterial, antimicrobial. It's a great disinfectant, helps with signs of aging, helps balance hormone levels, and helps decrease inflammation, pain. I do not recommend ingesting essential oils, but I did rub it on every time. So twice a day I would rub this on that same spot where she had her cyst on her spinal cord, and then we'd wait a little bit and then put on a new charcoal poultice. And
Would that get rid of wrinkles?
I don't know if it would get rid of wrinkles. I've never tried it. I probably should try it, but if you want to be my model for that, you can test it out and let us know. Do you have a...
Yeah, so you guys want to see how she is now?
Yes.
This is her. She actually went to Europe on a pilgrimage. Wow. She was there for, I think, 5 weeks. She was walking at least 3 to 4 miles a day.
No more surgery. She's like
no surgery. Surgery was canceled. Oh, I'll tell her you said that. She did not have the surgery.
Did she,
Praise God.
did she send you and your husband on a trip somewhere?
She babysat for us, which is worth more than frankincense and gold.
Okay, elderberry.
Okay, and so the next one that I'm going to be talking about.
Wait a minute, did you answer that question about wrinkles?
Yes, and I said I don't know, although I should try it out myself. However, if you wanted to be my model for that, you can try it out. Back to us and let me know how it works. But you know what? I'm actually thinking I should start trying this, and I'll find out. I'll find out.
As we are.
Can you ask, I'm sorry, can you ask Pastor if he's recording this?
Are you recording this?
Are you recording this whole thing? Are you gonna put it on your website, on your MKSDA?
Never gonna be enough. How much frankincense would you put in with the oil?
Okay, so that's a great question. So there are dilution rates that you should do. It's according to how many ounces of the carrier oil or how many drops. For my mom, I did 1 drop. That's how strong it is. I did 1 drop. Yeah.
Then what? Yeah.
I don't remember the ratio rate. I can find it out for you, but there's specific dilution ratios that I got from an aromatherapist. And it tells you how many drops per how many ounces of oil. But I remember I only did 1 drop. And so a bottle like this, I think this bottle cost maybe $30, and I have had this bottle for years.
So Susan.
Wait a minute, how do you dilute it though? I'm confused.
So diluted means I'm going to take a drop of this. This is concentrated. I'm going to take a drop of this, and I'm going to take, for example, don't quote me on the dilution rate, but for example, I'm going to take 1 ounce of another type of oil, a carrier oil. So that's coconut oil, sunflower oil, olive oil, whatever oil you want to choose.
Oh, so it's,
you're gonna
mix it together.
and then you're gonna mix it together and then apply it on the area.
What happens if you use that pure? What happens?
So you don't want to, because these are so strong. I want you to think about how concentrated these are. That's why I don't recommend ever ingesting essential oils, because these are so potent. It's a certain part of the plant that has been concentrated. You know, I think if you get lemon essential oil, I think 1 drop is equivalent to like 30 cups of tea made from the same plant. It's very potent stuff. So it's very effective, but if you use it without a carrier oil, you can have skin sensitivity, you can have desensitization to it, which you don't want. You want it to be very powerful. So that's why I recommend doing it in a carrier oil, which is what aromatherapists recommend, and they're the ones who study essential oils. That's
so
what they
how
recommend.
long before your mom got better? Because she gave you 2 months.
She gave me 2 months, and I want to say she was walking probably within a month. Yeah, walking without no wheelchair, no crutches within a month. I want to say a couple of weeks. I don't remember exactly. This was probably about 10 years ago. No recurrence, or not 10 years ago. My son is 5, so this was 5 years ago.
And that was using the Poultice.
The Poultice daily, the frankincense, of course, prayer. We were praying. My mom was never open to me praying over her, and I said, if I'm going to use these natural remedies, the healing comes from God, not from the charcoal or the frankincense. So she let me pray for her every time we put the Poultice on. I did have her incorporate some of the things that Davina talked about. Sunlight every day between the hours of 10 and 1, 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. That's when you're going to get the most vitamin D absorption. Also, plant-based diet, more whole foods, things like that. So we also incorporate things like that, but this and the charcoal poultice are the only remedies that we use topically on her. So now I'm going to be talking about another immune system booster. This is a great one to use during cold and flu season. This up. All right, and so this, has anyone heard of elderberries before?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so about half the people have heard of elderberries. They're these really tiny berries, and they look like this when they're dried. They look like that when they're fresh. This is what the fresh berries look like. Kind of hard to tell in this picture. It's very clear if you want to see it on here.
Yeah.
They're really beautiful. Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Count on me to mess things up. Okay. Well, she's working on that, but I'll show you the picture. If someone wants to come around later and after the presentations are done, you can see what it looks like. But when it's dried, they're just these very tiny dried berries. So what I do is I take a pot, I take 100 grams of the berries. So I'll measure out 100 grams and I'll put the berries in here. So I'll measure it out and they look like this, just little tiny berries. You never want to eat them when they're raw. You always want to cook them first because just like a lot of things, you don't want to eat raw, but they're okay when they're cooked. It's the same thing with these. So what I would do is with these berries, they're very rich in vitamin C, they're rich in antioxidants. But what I'll do is I'll put 100 grams in here, and then I'll take my water. I'll put 1 to 2 quarts, depending on your elevation. I'll typically put about 1.5 quarts, and I'll pour that in. I'll let it sit in the pot for about 30 minutes, and I'll just let them rehydrate, okay?
What do you mean by elevation?
So if you're, I think if you live in areas of higher, because I've always wondered why they say 1 to 2 quarts. I said, just give me an exact number, because I just want to follow it to a T. But I guess when you live in places of higher elevation, I don't know what it is exactly, but
The water steams off faster.
yeah, the water steams off faster, so you need more. Something like that. I think that's for people who live in the mountains or Tahoe, things like that, which I don't. So I just put about 1.5, and that's what works for me. I'll give you all the recipe that I use.
Is it transformed by the recipes?
I'm not sure, but I'll post it on there. And then you add the water and just let it sit and rehydrate for about 30 minutes. And then I'm going to bring it to a boil. Once it starts boiling, I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. So kind of like I'm making tea. I'm going to turn it down to a simmer for about 45 minutes. And then when it's done, I'm going to let it cool for a little bit. I'm going to take a strainer, strain out all the berries like this, and strain the liquid into another pot. And so I have now another pot. I have my strained berries. I'm going to add some honey. And I always use local honey from glass jars. And for anyone who's concerned, this is actually when I finish it, I like to pour the elderberry into the jar so that I don't waste any honey. And it also flavors it, makes it a little bit sweeter. But this is one from the Napa Valley, which our church is in the Napa Valley. So I like local honey, especially if you suffer from allergies, it's good to have local honey. And so what I'll do is I'll add about a cup of honey and then I'll boil it. This is what's going to make it a little bit thicker. They say you can add thickening agents, which I never do because I want to keep it really simple. And so I'll just add some raw honey, boil it for 10 more minutes and let it kind of thicken up and sweeten. And then pour it into a jar, and then I'll take about 1 to 2 tablespoons of this. You can take it preventatively. If you've been exposed to someone, like how many times have we been out and then all of a sudden they say, oh, you were exposed to someone who had COVID, or you were just with someone and all of a sudden they say, hey, by the way, came down with a sore throat the next day. I'd say, okay, I'm making some elderberry and I'm just going to boost my immune system before anything kicks in. And with this, will you go to the slide with all the studies? Yep. There are so many scientific studies on elderberries. I only put 4 in here, but I think I found at least 15. Talking about this one here, elderberry supplementation reduces cold duration and symptoms in air travelers, a randomized double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial. Advanced research on the antioxidant and health benefits of elderberries in food, a review. Anti-influenza activity of elderberry. Elderberry compounds could help minimize flu symptoms, studies suggest. Now this is something that I personally try to take anytime I've been exposed to someone, or anytime, I've been taking this pre-COVID for many years. Anytime I'm just around someone who is sick, or if I'm at a party or an event or something, and there's people coughing around us, I'll give this to my kids too. And I don't think I've had a flu in maybe 10 or 12 years. I don't remember the last time I've had a flu. I don't remember the last time I've had a fever. It's been well over 10 years. So this is one of my go-to remedies, in addition to what Davina said, following the 8 laws of health, getting that fresh air and that sunshine every day. But this is another thing I like to add. And this was actually this plant, Sister White actually had planted in her yard. It was one of her favorite plants that she had growing in her garden. So this is elderberries. I just get these online. It's just 3 simple ingredients: elderberries, some water, and some honey. That's it. And it's so simple. You just make a syrup, and this will last several weeks in your fridge. And then you just take, the recipe will tell you the dosaging, but I typically just take 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. And if I'm feeling something, remember Davina said at the start of symptoms, that's when you want to do something. So as soon as you feel something like a tickle in your throat, that's when you attack it, and you throw everything at your body to help strengthen your immune system to overcome it while it's early on. And I've never had like a full-blown, I've never had a flu or anything like that. So I've always tried to catch any little tiny symptoms early. And so this is what I use. It's elderberry. When we're all done with the presentations, you'll get to try the natural cough syrup. I'll let you guys try this. But one of my favorite things to do, I wish I had a picture of it in my phone. I actually should have saved it. But what I like to do is I like to make ginger lemonade. So I'll take, during lemon season, I'll take some fresh lemons off of my tree. I'll squeeze it into some water, and then I'll make like a lemonade. I'll add some maple syrup to sweeten it, and then I'll add some ginger. So what I do is I grate my ginger, grate probably like a whole thing of ginger, squeeze the juice into my lemonade, and now I have ginger lemonade. And so what I do every morning when I would wake up during like cold and flu season, so during the winter, every morning I take a pot, I'd pour about a cup or 2 of that ginger lemonade in there, and then I'd let it cool. I put it into my mug, and then I'd start my day off with this ginger lemon water. And then I'll put about a tablespoon or 2 of the elderberry, and it's so beautiful the way that it mixes with the colors. It's just so pretty. I'll try to get a video to show you. And I'll drink that every morning during cold and flu season, just to kind of give my immune system just a little boost that it needs to stay healthy.
You're building up your electrolytes.
What was that?
You're building up also your
Yes,
electrolytes.
yes, because every single ingredient in that, the ginger is anti-inflammatory, the maple is great for the liver, it's great antioxidants, the lemon, of course, rich in vitamin C, and then, of course, water is hydrating. So that's one of the things that I love to do with the elderberry as well, or I'll just take it straight. You'll get to try it later, and it's pretty sweet. It's very good.
How about if you mix it, all that together, put it in jars and sell it to us?
That should consider
Just
that.
teaching you how to do it.
No, but for me it'll be easier. I would rather her make it, and then, because I know she's making it perfect. And then I would purchase it from her.
See?
And I would have it on her.
Source of income.
Yeah, this could be our country living business. Yeah, but I think we can make that happen. But I think it's also good to know this knowledge, because if we're all living in the country and I'm living 2,000 miles away from you, and our houses
You
are.
can ship it.
If we can't buy or sell, when we get to that point, it's good to know this information, and it's very simple. Grow this plant in your garden, and then just as the time comes, just make the syrup. Dry them, make the syrup out of it, and you have elderberry syrup. Grow onions in your garden. All these things are things you can grow. Yeah, forage for it in your neighbor's gardens if you don't have it. But so these are what I do. Anyone have any questions?
So all of our recipes will be posted on our website, transforming.life. Okay, it's not quite posted yet because we just had this demo at New Life Church, but we'll have it posted over there, transforming.life.
Now, you know what we should do? It'll be faster. Is anyone here on Facebook?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if you follow us on Facebook, I'll be posting the recipes
what is
for
it?
everything.
Transforming
It's
Life?
just look on Facebook. It's Transforming Life. You'll see this logo here, and then if you just follow us, then as soon as I post the recipes, you'll get an alert.
Transforming Life is from New Life.
Yes.
Church.
Yes. So Transforming Life is the nonprofit health organization from New Life community Adventist Church.
Wonderful.
So we're gonna be doing the cashew milk demo at this time. If you want to stand up and stretch out a little bit. See, that's why we love it here because we don't close. At New Life, we close. Then after this, I'll give you your.
It's really serious.
The milk.
So that's what you get from the mix the two and then serve.
I'm so glad you made it.
I know. Oh my God.
Did they do an after
lesson?
Were they doing after session there or?
Oh, I don't know, but I already left.
Oh, okay.
I said I'm gonna go. I'm glad I'm not too late.
I know.
So, that it's a raw. Raw
Cashew?
Yeah, cashew.
Raw cashew. So while we're setting up here and we're waiting for folks to come back, can y'all tell me one thing that you've learned today? One thing that you've learned? Yeah.
You stop my 1 foot from hurting.
How is it?
It's nice.
Wow, it's
Praise
nice.
the Lord. It is
Okay.
really effective.
The charcoal.
Yes, I tried it.
It's kind of cooling, right? Yes. Anybody else? Anything that you've learned today?
Not to leave onions on the counter.
Not to
Yeah. And then seal the onions in the fridge.
Ziploc bag,
Ziploc,
yes.
okay.
Yep.
I want to say to Alfreda, because we only put it on 1 foot, I'm curious to know if you feel a difference between the
Yeah,
two
yeah,
foots.
so
I would just like.
I'm still waiting for the others.
Well, I don't want to give you only one now. I don't want to give you the other one because I want to see if there's a difference. I just want to go night and then
Yeah,
take
one
off
more.
Demanding.
I'm sorry.
Are we able to use the extension on that one? Here, I have. You have one? Because you have everything.
It's nice to have a t-shirt.
I know, yeah, it's bad when your feet
Like
hurt.
t-shirt.
I think so.
Maya, beautiful night.
You need to NAD.
Maya is ready to go.
Let's have the table closer. Can it reach?
Let me just get on the
Oh,
side.
is there, I pinch it. That's it, it's short. Okay, we're on. Good? Good? All right. Okay. What we're gonna do is make some homemade cashew nut. I also went ahead earlier and made some almond milk. Now almond milks are gonna be a little bit different because that has to be strained with a cheesecloth. So we'll go over that in a little bit here, but I wanna go ahead and present the cashew nut first. So what you're gonna do is you will take 1 cup of cashew nuts. I actually have 2 in here. And you go ahead and measure your cashew nuts and you need to soak them at least, they say 2 to 4 hours. I would do at least 4. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a softer consistency. And I soak these and I just rinsed them. And that way they're ready to be put into the blender.
Is it true that the raw cashew nut is kind of unhealthy?
It has phytokin. Yeah, any raw nuts or seeds has a substance called I think it's phytokin. Phytic acid, and it's found in nuts, and it but when you soak them and you rinse them, you rinse off that.
Oh, okay.
And this is what happens when you, if you don't do that, because if not, it will
if you rinse it, let's go this way, if you rinse it, it will help with the absorption of the minerals, iron, zinc, and calcium. And you can look that up online. I looked at on several sites, that's exactly what it said. Because if not, you eat them raw, a lot of them, it will prohibit the absorption. But by soaking them and rinsing that off, now you're good to go.
That's why you are using roasted.
Yeah, I grabbed this one from Costco yesterday. I ran down and bought it real quick. So, but this actually has a salt in it, so you don't have to put salt. It's the ingredients are very simple. So it's just your cashews soaked and rinsed, water, and salt, a little pinch of salt, and this one's the bad vanilla. Does anybody know why? It has alcohol in it. It's got alcohol. It has alcohol, so you don't want to use this one. But I brought this so that if anybody, I mean, you could just, it's potent.
So, what is the
Have you ever smelled it before?
I have it, I use it, but I never know that it had alcohol.
Me too.
Yeah.
No wonder when you smell it.
Yes, send us around.
It's best to make it yourself.
It's 41%. Smell that and you can.
And sometimes you can, they have that as a recipe for a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So.
If you look in the ingredients, you'll see alcohol in there. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's better to make it yourself with a vanilla bean. You know, you just boil that, open it up, put it open, boil it up. We'll put it in a jar for you.
Don't get drunk.
All right, okay. Next what we're going to do is for every 1 cup of cashew nuts, you're going to put 3 cups of water. Okay, and that'll make it creamier. You could go up to 4 if you want to dilute it more. But I'm going to go with, let me put the water. I don't want it to splash too much.
So Trader Joe's has alcohol-free vanilla.
Vanilla? Oh, okay, Trader Joe's.
Yeah, so use that one.
I've been using that.
How many cups did you say of cashews?
1 cup of cashews to 3 cups of water.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
1 to 3 cups.
And if you want super creamy, then you go 2 cups of water. Now, earlier I made this one a little sweet, so I don't want to serve it too sweet. So I'm going to mix one with no sugar with the one that I have a little sugar, because some people probably don't want it that sweet. So anyway, this is exactly 6 cups.
So we don't have to soak the cashew nut?
Yes, they are soaked already.
Oh.
I soaked them prior to coming.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you see them there. And Susan has another recipe too that she mixes cashew with pecan.
Yeah, and then I
Ooh,
sweeten it
that
with maple
is.
syrup. It's
Yeah, you can sweeten with any of your favorite sweeteners, but they use dates, syrup, and you can use regular sugar, just any type of sweetener that you prefer. Okay, here we go. Lights on. And almond milk, you do not have to strain it. Cashew, you don't have to strain it. If you do almond, you need to strain it and use a cheesecloth. This one you can drink with a cheesecloth. Okay, let's go. You'll put out a minute, you want to make sure that it's all the way ready.
Concentration of almonds to water when you make almond milk? The 3 to
Yes, same thing. And if you look, it looks just like milk. It's frothy.
Oh, okay.
See?
Cashew
Yeah,
milk.
look.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh my word.
See?
It's good for cereal.
Yes.
Cereal.
Oh, that's why she put in
This was almond.
Yeah, these are both the same, but I just want to
mix it up
a little for you.
So do you use those fancy whole nuts from
Yeah, I just use the ones from Costco.
But you
Yeah.
can use raw cashews too, right?
Yeah. I'm just gonna mix this one more time here. And we get what we get.
Homemade cashew milk.
And you have cups?
Yes.
Seems good.
Oh, you guys want to taste it though, right? Okay. And I don't know how big, do you have the bigger cups? Yeah, I'm sorry. I brought some granola and I brought some
That's why you don't want to do
strawberry. If you want to put some in your cup.
I'm a man.
Sounds like time for breakfast.
We have the bigger cup. Breakfast time. We don't have bigger ones?
Some cereals.
Yeah, we do have some bigger ones.
Wait, they'll bring some bigger cups.
Oh, you got I
So one of the things that we wanted to do was to also do a cooking class. Some people weren't able to make, we wanted to do that tomorrow for tomorrow's session, but we said, okay, we can't, yeah, we're not able to, but we said since we couldn't do the cooking class, let's try to incorporate some samples of some healthy foods and things that we can.
If you invite us back.
So what is this good for?
This is good for a substitute for dairy milk.
Oh.
So any place that you would use dairy milk.
On your table, you guys can.
Cereal for your oatmeal.
Which one do you like? Go ahead, yeah, go ahead and put some in there, and then we can put those on the table, they can pour it themselves.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Yeah. You want another one for another table?
We'll put it here.
Yeah.
And,
So, this one go there? Go in the
Yeah,
bar.
that can go in the back, or share between these. Here, you know what, sis, put some in here.
I need that on my.
That way they can have one and they can have that. Thanks.
Can I have
No, almond milk, yes. Because it has a lot of pulp.
Oh, okay.
The orange juice has pulp. This one has no pulp, so you can drink it plain.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this one next.
charcoal on her hands.
I'm gonna do it, we're gonna let them have a taste of the sugar and
No? Oh, they got one.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, there's some trail mix.
Where's that?
Cereal. Ooh, it's good with the.
Wow, this is trail mix.
Yeah, it just,
Thicker than milk.
Big cup.
you can add water.
Yes.
Yeah, you would like
The original recipe called for 4 cups of water to 1. I like 3 because I like it thicker and creamier.
It is very thick.
Yeah, you can, you want a little, you can add more water to it.
Can I have some cereal? This is, you want some of the cereals? Here, I'll get some. Here, Mommy will get. I don't, there's some.
Oh, there's These are true, yes.
Oh, where's this one? I'll try this one.
What did you put sweetener?
It's just regular sugar. You don't have to put it on regular sugar, but that's what I put down. This regular sugar. Because I like my milk a little bit, just a little bit sweeter, so that's why I didn't know if it was too. You can always add water, if you think it's a little too sweet. If you overdo it, just add water.
Very good.
There's room for it.
Did you get trail mix in there?
Catherine, did you try it? Here.
No.
Oh, he doesn't have it. We tried it here. Here.
Okay.
Oh, there's milk left.
If you need this, do we have a
Oh,
running
they
around?
just set up.
Yeah, extra spoon.
That's
No,
it.
I think she's gonna do something.
Yeah, I have one more little taste tester. And that's a store-bought versus almond milk.
Okay.
Right, so. Just, I need, when you guys taste.
Pastor, can we have a spoon back here? Say that one.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We like sweet.
It's really nice to see you.
This is almond.
Sorry, then have
Pastor,
one.
there's a bag of them up there. No, it's good, Pastor. Oh, yeah, good. I like it. We need one more. It's not too sweet. We need one more.
Okay. I'm gonna go over one more thing here with you. I'll just need one of you guys to read a couple ingredients, okay? All right, and then a smaller cup for this demonstration here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to present to you will be almond milk. The same ratio, 1 cup, soak it, it's best to soak overnight because these nuts are hard. They're much more firmer, the almonds.
Overnight.
So soak it 8 hours, put it on at night, that way when you wake up in the morning, you can just go ahead and blend it the same way. You want it creamy, 3 cups. Super creamy, just 2 cups of water. Like if you want for a creamer type consistency. But I'm gonna show you the difference. This, I'm gonna give you 2 little cups to go around. You're gonna have the homemade almond milk, which is much cheaper to make. I should have done the graphics on that. And I'm gonna give you some store-bought. But listen to the ingredients that are in the store-bought.
Okay, the store-bought ingredients. Organic almond base, water, organic almonds, organic vanilla flavor, which we learned has alcohol.
Right.
Oh, no.
Sea salt, organic lotus bean gum, sunflower lecithin, gellan gum, DA tocopherol acetate, vitamin E, zinc, gluconate, vitamin A, palmitate, ergocalciferol, riboflavin,
Too much stuff.
B2, and vitamin B12.
And so a lot of those will sound like they're good ingredients because you're like, oh, vitamins, great, but these are synthetic vitamins.
Yeah.
That are not natural, and so if we're gonna eat these things, we want to get them naturally from the nuts themselves and not be synthetically added in.
And then this is, you want me to just spill?
Yeah, ice cube.
I froze it. To make this almond based milk, you just get almonds, raw almonds as well, and you soak them for longer, right?
Right, longer, at least 8 hours.
Overnight.
Overnight, and then what, you take them, you rinse them, and then you put them in the blender and
With water.
with water.
Yeah.
And then you get almond milk.
You have to strain it.
Strain it.
You're gonna strain it. Otherwise, you're gonna taste the pulp in there. It's gonna be
Wait,
grainy.
after you blend it?
After you blend it,
Strain
then
it?
you strain it with like a cheesecloth, and then you're gonna squeeze that out. Then you have your almond milk. So that's why she did cashew milk, because you don't have to strain it, so it's much easier. And then you can add sweeteners if you to your liking. If you want to add.
I buy almond milk, but this looks a lot better.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy. And I think that with the prices of groceries these days, I think that this is something so simple that we can make for pennies compared to what they're selling it for in the grocery store.
Or you can do this just before you do your elderberries. Soak your elderberries, soak your almonds, soak your cashews.
Just have a soaking day and a
just have a
cooking day.
soaking
You know,
day.
I feel comfortable doing that versus the other ones. I'll buy the other ones.
I said that for the longest time. So I said I trust other people, but then I said, you know what? I wanted it to be made a certain way And, cause I tried, one of the things is I tried to
This one
avoid like
is
non-stick
yours.
cookware.
This one's the big one, the homemade,
And
so
so
they
a
have
lot
a
of
drink.
people I found were making it in.
This is homemade.
Non-stick cookware,
So
so
the difference, make sure
then I had to take control and make it myself and healthier cookware.
The homemade one is fuller.
Okay, homemade. Do you feel the difference? Do you feel the difference?
Do you feel one weighing you down and one lifting you up?
This one is store-bought. Homemade.
There's got one for you.
So Anissa,
Yes.
sorry I missed this, I was in the bathroom, so is
See the
this,
difference?
how much
Taste the
almond
difference?
water?
One We'll make it
I've had it before.
This is homemade.
1 to 3.
And it's pre-soaked, of course.
pre-soaked, 8 hours.
And this is just like these
Homemade is
homemade.
Thank you so much.
This is
Homemade.
It's such a weird way to save money.
This is store-bought?
This is homemade. Milkshakes out of this.
So, any kind of bread there will do, right?
Yeah, high-speed milk is better.
What's it?
This is a vitamin.
It's also
Overnight.
No problem.
Do you see the difference though? The color itself and the taste.
The water doesn't taste as bad.
So this is like, it's like.
That's good, sister. Good.
All right.
Dumb down.
It's so dumbed down, it's dumbed down.
Yeah, that goes on the lids. I mean, the vanilla and the.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But
Is everybody having a good time?
Yeah.
Are we all learning a few things?
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Does it seem like health is that difficult?
No.
No, it's possible. It's possible to live a healthier life. Do we make some changes? Yes. Not impossible. But the more we are involved with health, the more we see that our lives are better in every aspect. And eventually when you're growing all this stuff in your gardens, you're going to have ultimate health. Because when you go out and you actually garden this stuff, and you're growing your onions and your garlics. I wish. I do have a garden though.
You have a garden or your wife has a garden?
I have a garden. I have a gardener and I have a garden. Now that you mention that.
No, actually, I'm going to start making it every day.
There's some more.
Oh, sure.
What is that?
That's almond milk, right? Homemade, right?
So this
homemade.
stuff
Homemade.
that Elder Alvin is doing,
Just
every
made.
household should have, right? Especially we're coming into the food season.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something that you want to make now, and it can stay in your refrigerator for at least a month. But you can take it now. It's similar like the elderberry when you're not feeling good or you're feeling a little sick. You can take a little bit of this. Can somebody bring me a bowl?
A bowl
Yeah. And then how about the cutting board? Do we have the cutting board?
and a cutting board
And knife. The knife.
and a knife.
I'm sorry.
Bowl.
Cutting board, knife. And so what I have here is, this is just the way I was taught to make it. This hasn't changed yet. These are still wet from being washed. This is your white onion, and you heard all the benefits of onion. So you're taking all the benefits of the onion, and you have horseradish, which is very potent, very powerful. It probably has a ton of benefits in the horseradish. I didn't look up all the benefits, but they're there. These things are all very potent and powerful, even on their own. They're very potent and powerful. And so what we're looking for is a synergy, is that saying that right? Synergetic reaction. Synergy. We're looking for synergy. So what that means is that they work really good by themselves, but they're even more powerful in connection. One is pushing and pulling and doing all different stuff, so they work more powerful together. So instead of working at the what level that they're working on now, together they can take it even to a much higher level of healing. And that's what you get when you combine these origins. Now I didn't combine this. This was done by I think Dr. Schultz is where I first originally. Him and this guy named Sam Beiser, they did this thing on healing, and I think that's where I originally had gotten it from. And the first time I took this stuff, I think I just fell on the ground and I just almost like passed out. It was so powerful. But the thing is if you're really, really sick or somebody's really, really sick, you could give them this. You can give them this medicine, and you don't have to mix it with honey or anything else. You give it to them straight. You just juice it. You can use a blender, a juicer. Ginger doesn't go through juices very good, and it's very fibrous. And even this horseradish, you probably can't get through a juicer. But anyhow.
In other words, you can just throw your juicer.
Yeah, so it's not. But so anyhow, where was I at? Anyway, you got that synergistic reaction, everything working together and being very, very powerful. So if somebody's really, really sick, you can give it to them just raw, just in the juice form. Don't mix it with honey. And
get up and walk around.
They will. Yeah, some people will almost be at that
Come
point
back from the dead.
They will. They may not walk around, but if they're in a deep, like almost like comatose state, it can arouse them from that because it just goes through your system and just is such a powerful.
You're gonna jump.
Yeah. Yes.
When Alvin first gave it to me, I literally almost passed out in the toilet.
Me too.
And I said, call the ambulance. Call the ambulance.
You should have said, this is your 911.
Call the ambulance.
He said, no need to, I'll just give you more.
Is it stronger than Super Tonic?
I believe it is because of the rawness of it. Super Tonic is strong, but I think this is stronger than Super Tonic. You're making it raw.
Wow.
And
Because Super Tonic, it just blows you straight away.
yeah, I think the Super Tonic has a pretty similar
Do you have a
combination.
sloop? Or do you think you have a sloop? You take Super Tonic, like 2 scoops, or 2 whole scoops, and take a bottle of water and lay down for 30 minutes and get up and go. You're done.
Where do you get
That's the
that?
end of your sloop.
Dr. Schultz.
It's called Super Tonic.
Which is the big five?
Oh, it
He
is.
makes it. I've never seen it made. We just buy it.
Ah.
It's a
I don't like them. You can buy it. You'll never get the flu. I'm serious.
The only difference is Dr. Schultz uses habanero pepper versus jalapeno. Habanero is more potent.
Yeah, there's some peppers that
It's
you
like
can use.
many thousand millions of units.
Yes.
That the little red ones that they have in the Safeway, and I don't get those, but man, if you want to take it to another heat level, you can. But usually I find this is potent and hot enough, just the way I make it, and it's even hard to put it together. It's already strong.
You can sit anywhere. You'll knock us out of this room. We're gonna have
Yeah.
tears in a minute.
So how many onions?
I hope you're not gonna melt it, you know, right?
Just a couple of days.
I can try for you. Oh, yeah?
Now the thing is, now with the honey, it tones it down and it makes it so that you can take it more palatable, and it's not quite so hot. I mean, it's hot, but it's not as bad.
For everyone that's tried the milk, now we have to try this.
There you go.
That's for December, for the flu season.
This is for preparing you for the flu season, not for the flu season, for preparation. You know, like the preparation time before Jesus comes, you'll need this, buddy.
I think I'm with Maria. Why don't you make it, we'll buy it from you.
That's right.
We don't sell
I'll
it.
keep it in the refrigerator.
Yes.
We save the best for last.
Oh, God.
The shelf life. What are you eating?
That's a lot of onion.
What's
That's a lot
the
of
shelf
onions. This
life?
is my
How
last
long
one.
does
This
it
could be
last
two.
in your refrigerator?
It can last a month. I think we usually have ours for about a month.
We keep ours for long, I don't want to tell you how long, but we keep it.
Anytime you get a little sore throat, or you think you might be sick.
All right, let's start with this,
You just take it all.
and then we'll start adding.
Especially if you're working proud.
Can you freeze it?
anymore, man.
Or it loses potency, huh?
It might, but I think it probably will still has.
I'll take this and I'll be fine.
You know, you have the fear of getting it all.
When you taste that, you won't have any fear.
So no water.
I start with no water, so I start with the onions, so I don't have to, because onions make a lot of juice, and usually I can make it.
Oh, I see. I can smell it.
Smells good.
Look at it, it's like milk.
You know what, I'm not gonna,
It's onion milk.
Oh my God.
It's onion
With the
milk.
pepper.
Onion milk, here we
You
go.
can see if you like cashew milk or onion milk.
So what is that that you?
That's ginger. You stick
How do you know how much to use? Look at.
I don't.
My word.
But I just try to use a good amount. You know, with natural remedies, it's not like a,
It's a good amount.
Measurement.
it's not like a measurement, right?
Oh.
Okay, what have I put this in? Did this. Trying to do garlic.
I'm not sure. I think.
Good thing you don't even have to peel the garlic.
Really?
Yep.
You're not peeling the garlic.
Huh?
You're not peeling the garlic?
Yeah.
He's in there.
You washed it already.
He's
Well, it
determined.
gives you fiber.
Added fiber
I've
to
never
your.
seen this before in my life.
That's why, yeah, that's why we put. See how to
I'll be there.
make,
That's too
so to
low.
speak, make your own medicine. All right, now for the really good stuff.
Can we include that in the elderberry?
You can put a little bit of honey.
Yeah.
So at the end, we're gonna
Mix it all together.
Mix it all together. Cashew milk, big five, elderberry, onion, together.
Oh,
The
man.
whole enchilada.
The
And you'll be
whole
good for the rest
enchilada.
of this season.
That's right.
Package deal.
Don't forget the charcoal on the foot.
Wow.
That's the horseradish.
Horseradish.
Ooh, wasabi.
I can smell it, guys.
This is a horseradish.
Where's the horseradish?
It might make you cough a
That thing
little.
was strong.
Especially when you're cutting it. When you
That's
get
the radish?
close to elder albus.
What do I pour down?
It's horseradish.
Oh, he just taking.
I haven't cleaned my sinuses yet.
You can smell it from there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm wondering why you're surviving there.
I'm already well.
Eyes.
Smelling it.
Just close your eyes.
My neck pain's going away.
Neck pain is gone.
Everything's clear.
I had all that.
I had a question here yet.
It's sour.
Wow, strong smell.
You can smell it.
So how much of that do you, tablespoon?
You're not talking about the measurements.
What are you throwing in
He's
there?
letting God leave him on the measurement.
Like you can use one of these. You know what? I'll use sometimes 5 of these when I make it a whole bunch.
Honey.
5 of these, garlic.
Alvin,
1 or 2 of these,
don't call them these, just tell them what they are.
2 gingers, and at least 5 of these.
Jalapeno.
Jalapeno, yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Oh my goodness, that's very strong.
Okay, so you said 5 of these, 2 of these.
5 of everything.
So this is for whatever
5 of each.
whatever ailment that you have.
Well, I have
You can
5
try
of
this.
these, 2 of
He
these.
didn't no, with water.
I could put that on the bottom of my feet, huh?
This is so strong, if you drink it, you'll feel it in your feet immediately.
That's
So that's pretty good right there. And then
You can call it a cheese ball or a Peter's ball, whatever you want to call it.
So your church has never seen you make this before?
oh yeah, I've done it at least 2 or 3 times.
You can use cheese ball.
We try to prepare them every year for
But
the
every
floor.
time it's like.
Oh, I started.
So now this is wasabi. You can use it for your
Bolted?
sushi. Yeah, there you go. You can use it for your sushi.
Yeah, it just like looks like a wasabi.
Yeah. It's so strong that in all the years he's made it for our church, I've never had to take it. I've just had to stand here and watch it and smell it, and I've got the effect.
You just didn't want to take
The
it.
pain is gone. Fever is gone.
Ooh, look at all of that.
Oh, that's
That's no
why.
water.
Wow.
That's without water. Wow.
That's how you keep it really cold.
No, that will cure.
Shut.
That one kill you.
No, that will cure you.
Cure you.
That's it.
We need to make that into an IV.
I'll take some of that out.
I want nothing
That's
to
what
do
you have
with
to
it.
do with not the cashew, nut, but the almonds, the same thing.
I told him not to say, you better want to
So does anybody want to try it without the honey?
I don't know about that.
Because I can give it to you without the honey.
I'll try a little bit.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, come on over.
I don't want to be on camera, but.
You prefer
I don't want to be on camera.
With a teaspoon, because.
Yeah, we just need to plan it. Yeah.
They have
Oh, this one there.
That's a lot of.
But they
very
understand
small.
English?
Yeah.
They understand English?
So that's what I'll do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want a cup or a spoon?
No.
Just give him a cup.
No, I don't want a cup, bro. I got my own.
Oh my word.
Catch him, catch him.
Please don't play brave.
I like that Turkish better. And then if you put honey in it,
It's more mellow.
yeah.
Okay.
What do you taste,
Yeah.
Elder Ernst?
No,
What
I'm
do you
nervous
taste?
minded, I can't.
Onions.
Onion?
I didn't really
Yeah.
taste the jalapeno.
Jalapeno?
Yeah.
Is that hot?
Horseradish.
Yeah.
I'll try
onions and the garlic.
Garlic?
Go ahead, you can go ahead and spin some.
Seeds and everything in
You know it's hot.
Yeah.
And you didn't even feel the garlic.
Hey, what?
You didn't even feel the garlic.
No. It's good.
I think it needs to be, it needs to
They
be
just stuck
stronger
the
than
garlic
that.
in there and blended it out.
Seriously?
It's not that
It's not that strong.
Seriously?
Yeah. You want the cup?
Did you forget?
Oh, it's already strong.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, it's not really that strong.
Something's wrong with your
I don't think so, but we'll
That's
try it.
fine.
Alvin, you listen to that?
Come on, brother, come on. It's not that bad, man.
Okay, he's made
Because
it.
that's a short. You taste it because
Alvin, you're gonna show
have
up.
an apple.
Alright, so I'll put some honey in, and then we can do test.
But insert, I mean, something like that, I think it's mine.
Wait,
Okay.
you wanna try without honey?
No, don't put honey. So people
Huh?
actually try all the samples.
Say that one more time.
How much
Clear it
did
so
it
they can try all the
How
samples
much
now.
did it taste?
Okay.
You honey or no?
Honey?
No, no honey.
If you put the honey in it.
You wanna try it with honey?
My taste.
Yeah.
You want to honey them sweeten it themselves?
It might be kind of hard, but
Oh,
does anybody else want it with no honey?
No,
Yeah, I'll try it.
no.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, someone is coming to try it.
No,
Yeah.
we'll get it for them.
Oh,
We'll get it for you. We'll get it.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a lot, brother Alvin.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, okay, I want to be well for the whole winter.
Not too much.
Let it evaporate.
I'll try. Oh, no, I'll wait for the honey.
You wanna try a little bit? Somebody else?
Wait for the honey.
That's fine, just take it.
He wants me to try it alone.
I'll take some.
And one for Peter, he wants one without honey.
No honey.
But this one is without honey.
Oh, anybody else before the
Yes,
honey?
Peter, he wants one without honey.
Without honey?
I'm waiting for honey, Alvin.
Okay, without honey.
Oh, that was
Without honey? Without honey?
It's not too bad. Oh, yeah, that was beyond.
Honey, you can put honey.
Okay, we're done with no honey?
No honey?
Yes.
They couldn't handle it.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Okay, I'm gonna put honey in it now.
Right there. That's why.
You like it better without honey?
Even if I was sick, I still get disgusting.
I like
Without honey's fine.
Did you want it without honey?
Peter, try it.
Okay, so there's one with honey.
I want it with honey.
With honey. So now we're going to do a taste test with all of it, the elderberry and the onion syrup. So if you want to taste the others, I have a spoon. You guys can come up and taste the others. Actually, we're done with this one. We can turn this one off.
Because if I choose like
Is it this? Oh yeah. You want to serve it?
How do you serve it?
What you told about?
Yes.
I wanted to taste it.
Okay.
Ready?
I just want a spoon.
Or I can just give you a spoon and this maybe a touch.
I'll try it with the honey.
Anybody else want to taste it with honey?
Did you do it with honey?
I got honey in it now.
And there's an onion syrup. Who wants to try that?
I think somebody back there wants some of honey.
I'll try it.
This is with honey.
Does anybody want to try the onion cough syrup?
Onion cough syrup. Not bad.
You can have more for mine.
Sweet.
You want a little more?
I want to taste something.
Because after the one you talked about,
You don't say try the elderberry. Are you sure? I was brought the elderberry.
Pasta.
And I want to sweeten one. Oh, you like the elderberry.
You got the sweetened one? I did. And I'm tasting all the other stuff.
What? You don't like the one with the sweet? You like it better?
I haven't tasted this yet.
I would really have to be sick.
I'm sorry.
I'll buy from food first. But now,
Where's water?
I want to see it.
Where's water?
Is there any such? And then you taste it.
Yeah. You just off with the elderberry.
I used to think this elderberry.
oh, that was not bad.
Oh, yeah,
See?
elderberry.
See? It's not bad. It's like honey. It's just like honey. Yeah. And this works. This is the onions and honey. Yeah.
But it's in there.
It's in there. Yeah. And you mix it. And you guys want to mix it. There's the elderberry. No honey. You don't want that vitamins. No,
I don't know, mineral. I took that and I never got COVID, I never got sick, and I got sick.
Oh, wow.
I still think it's hot.
hasn't got
I don't
it, she
know.
works at the hospital.
I think it's hot. I think it's hot.
You're the only two people in the world that haven't got it.
Praise God.
Okay.
All right. What are you,
Yeah, that has money.
Okay.
Go ahead and try
So you
some.
did that?
For
Yes.
Maria.
Yes.
Okay, the other stuff was not bad.
See, the cough syrup is not bad.
It's
No,
good.
the
Go
cough
ahead.
syrup's good.
She
Yes,
We have
it's
more if you want.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that other stuff.
You have to continue the other.
Anybody else want to try some samples?
We'll try, I will try the other day.
Elderberry is delicious.
I'd like to try this.
Elderberry is delicious.
And that's delicious. Imagine that with the lemonade.
Yeah, you could. You could.
The elderberry is good.
Yeah. 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 Take a container.
It's got the big file.
I want a little cup.
All right.
The rest of my family are really good. I used to live in Fairchild, Hawaii, Lord. Yeah, that would be nice to get on their site.
Thank you for the presentation. You want to mix it? Very good.
All glory to God.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for the drive down here and coming. I know some of you from Africa, all over the place.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us today.
You guys are from Napa? I'm from San Ramon.
Oh my goodness, no one likes that.